Hello and welcome, and on today's live show my normal catch up on news around the Raspberry Pi Pico, Pico 2 and other interesting IoT ecosystems, but trying to keep it mixed up of things that I think might be interesting to talk about. And we'll also look of course at my projects and some other projects that I reference as well as we go through. So hi, I'm John, your concierge to the world of the Raspberry Pi Pico, IoT, robotics and other fun tech, and welcome to my channel. So this is my live stream. It's my opportunity to have a slightly more one-to-one dialogue with you guys, and interactive rather than sort of my normal sort of broadcast schedule. So in that sense it's a little bit more relaxed for content and how we progress, a little bit more interactive. And a little bit more terrifying for me really, because there isn't the same amount of editing that goes in. If it's your first time watching, then welcome to the channel and thank you very much for joining. If you're returning, then thank you very much for coming back. I obviously really appreciate it. Please do like and please do subscribe, and please shout if there's any problem with audio quality or anything else you notice. I sometimes get things wrong in this. This is a one-man band, and I try to juggle everything as we go through. So how are you? How's things going? I imagine you're on this channel because you get work on Pico or Pico 2 or associated projects. And we all know that projects don't always go too well. So this is the opportunity for us to go, yeah, some of it's hard. And one of the projects I'm working on at the moment it seems, I thought I was going to get it out and I thought I was going to get it built and deployed over the summer. It's still in pieces, sitting around the lab, still here. But that's the way that some things go, isn't it? I hope your projects are going a little bit more smoothly and a little bit quicker. So it's September already. Fortunately, things have been a little bit quieter for the second half of the summer. Since the launch of Pico 2 and the RP2040. So I've very much been getting my head down and looking at the new board, and working and pushing along some of those other projects along. And I'm sure you've been doing the same, and I'd love to hear what you've been up to. So, do get in touch, guys. So what's going to be the agenda today and what are we up to? Well, normal agenda. So really going to talk about Pico news as I see it and what I've seen going on. My projects and some of what's out there and what I'm working on at the moment, and news about the channel and where I'm taking the channel and what to expect next, and Q&A. So any Q&A. So if you've got any questions, anything you think we should talk about, please do drop it into the live chat. I am looking at the live chat. Okay, I'm doing 13 things at once, but the live chat is one of the things up on the screen in front of me, so I can see it, and we can try and talk about it. Not necessarily saying that I can answer every question on the spur of the moment, but give me some ideas of stuff you'd like to see, and who knows, it might spin off and become an entire episode. So one change this time is sponsorship. So that some of my channel and some of my videos are sponsored, and I'm delighted to say that I now have a sponsor to sponsor my live stream. So today's live stream is sponsored by Cancun, and Cancun are a really friendly UK retailer for components, modules, tools and test equipment. So we all know that there are some really great retailers available for all of the Pico ecosystem, but some of them are quite expensive. Or there's some really, really cheap ones that, the likes of the mass auction sites, etc. But some things are not always described quite as they could be. Well, Cancun's in between those two, in my view. They are cheap, friendly, local, and their stuff is curated and it is what it says it is. So Cancun are kindly sponsoring us. Cancun are also kindly offering a 20% discount to you guys for your first order with them. So just quote Dr Jon EA Ltd at checkout and you'll get a 20% discount. There are some exclusions, test gear and that sort of thing, where I don't think they make the same amount of money on, are excluded from that. But please, go and support Cancun. They're lovely guys. They're really friendly. They're really helpful. Certainly been really friendly and helpful to me. It'll be lovely to support retailers in this space. They are UK only, and I know you guys are global, and that's really cool. But that, yeah, this sponsor is local. Some of my other sponsors are global, as you will know from some of my videos. So, with the sponsorship bit out of the way, let's talk about the news. What's going on in the world of the Pico ecosystem and other smart tech that I've seen? Well, I guess the big news since we last talked was the fact that a fairly serious bug came out on the RP2040, and I did a video on that. So this is the GPIO input bug where we're actually using pull down resistors bank. If you use the internal pull down resistor bank, then actually the GPIO input will get basically stuck after your first read, and then you'll basically need to reset it, which is really quite annoying and difficult. I think the only good news is that actually I very rarely use GPIO pull downs, and I could always use an external resistor as pull down to work around it. So there are things that we can do to work around it. I do have a video on the very subject out there, so go have a look at that video. I've got some ideas of workarounds, and I talk through the bug in some detail if you haven't heard about it yet and you're worried. I did have a little chat with someone online who had actually just ordered their boards and had designed it all with pull down to use the internal pull down resistor. I felt so sorry for him because that's not the place you really want to be. But I guess it happens with new hardware. So unfortunate, it's a pain, but it isn't the end of the world. That video gives you some ideas of workarounds, so just be aware of it. What else is going on? I guess the other news is the new VS Code extension for the Pico and Pico 2. Now, this is quite a big deal because this is becoming their Raspberry Pi's recommended route for developing for the Pico, at least for hobbyists. So this really means that everything is, the entire tool chain is set up inside VS Code, and that's the way that you do all your compilation, all your debugging, all your flashing of the Pico and everything. That isn't the way that I work. I tend to use the toolchain separately, and I tend to use lots of screens and lots of different programs all over my screen to give me access to the different services. So yeah, I'm not sure about this. I need to look at this in a little bit more detail and think, is this something I want to do? If you're using the VS Code extension and the toolchain, I'd be interested in your experience and what you think of it. Certainly, other people I've talked to just wonder about, is this really the way to go, that you want to push people towards that? It should some other flexibility. Because things like, the Windows installer that we've been used to, which was by and large the easiest way to get this out onto a Windows PC, that's not going to be supported for the SDK 2.0.0, and instead they're going to go with this VS Code extension. I think the good news for that is that the Windows installer will continue to support version 2.0.0. It's just that will only be via its author, which is a guy called Nikhil Dabas, and he will have it on his own GitHub site. So keep an eye out for that on GitHub. So yes, so I guess the bottom line is that the VS Code extension is, you know, the recommended approach to do it, but not how I'm doing it at the moment. I will do a video looking at it at some point soon, when I get some time away from other projects to explore it. Yeah, it is a massive shift from my approach of using, you know, typing CMake and make and using utilities outside to work on my toolchain. The only good thing I will say about it is that it does mean that actually, if you know where you're looking for it, you can actually find pre-compiled versions of things like Open OCD, which is quite useful, especially as I'm on a Mac, and compiling Open OCD on the Mac is quite often a pain in the arse. So that's useful. We can go, and there is pre-compiled versions for the different platforms. So the other intriguing news, or other thing I saw that I thought was really interesting, was that there's a new book coming out on designing your RP2040 board using KiCad. Now, I'm not a, you know, you probably know from my channel that although I do quite a lot of hardware, I'm really a software guy from heart. Well, actually, I'm an architect from heart, but software is where I sort of have spent a lot of my life. So this whole hardware bit is something I'm getting used to and upscaling. And actually, to understand how to put together a whole RP2040 board, to do all this in KiCad, to do all the design work, to think about all of the buses, the crosstalk from the buses, ground planes, aerials, and all of those sorts of things. This sounds like quite an interesting book. So this is going to be on my Christmas list, I think. And I definitely need to do a bit of reading of this one. But that was interesting that that's coming out, and looks worth a look. So those were the real big news points that I picked up around the Pico and Pico 2 and associated ecosystems. I always ask, you know, is there anything I've missed that's going on that I've missed that I should be talking about? Do let me know, and I will make sure to get it in. If there's things that are coming up that you care about, that you'd like us to mention on the site, please do get in touch, and we can get them in. So let's have a chat about projects and all the projects that are going on, and the ones that I've been working on. A lot of this is stuff, firstly, that you will have seen, because the first thing I'm going to talk about is, of course, all the projects that you've already seen and have come up recently. So, you know, I took a bit of time to go back and revisit the debug probe, because I think the debug probe is something that most of us now use to program our Picos, or at least something in that space. And I've got a combination of using debug probes and using RP2040 zeros as a combination to actually do that myself. So that's video. I wanted to update where I am and what my thinking is and how I use these things, because I use them all the time. I've also looked at getting started with the Pico 2 and how to compile and build up your first application with the Pico 2, and we got a video out on that. That was very straightforward to get up and get going. And from that then to start looking at, well, what is the difference between the Pico 2 and the Pico 1? What is the difference between that RP2350 and RP2040 in terms of performance? And it's quite interesting because, yeah, there is absolutely, from certainly an integer maths point of view, it seems to be more than twice as fast. And from a floating point mathematics point of view, it's more than 3 times as fast. So you've got an awful lot of additional power on that RP2350, which is quite interesting. And then, of course, with the 2350, we've got this new SDK 200, and I've taken a good look at that and had a good play around with that, using Pico Tool, how we can use a shared copy of Pico Tool as the way to generate our UF2s, etc. That's good. are there, and indeed how to use the new versions of FreeRTOS that are supported with the SDK 2.0.0. I haven't touched on FreeRTOS for the RP2040 in that video, I must admit. And when I did that, in fact, this week or last week, I got slightly surprised that it isn't actually quite as straightforward as I thought it was going to be. And so there'll be a little video showing how to get FreeRTOS running up on the RP2040 coming up next month. And finally, you saw this week's or Thursday's video, which is around this WaveShare RP2040 Touch, which is a really nice little display. In fact, I've got one sitting on my desk there. Not powered on, I know, but there you go, little tiny things. Watch-like displays with an RP2040 on the back, touch sensing on the display, plus there's a IMU unit for 6 points, whatever IMU stands for, you know what I mean. Sorry, brain's gone blank. Senior moment, but very nice. Have a look at that video. It's a nice little project, a nice little project board to work on. So what haven't you seen, and what am I working on that's coming up and that you might be really interested in? Well, still working on this weather station. It is the project that keeps on giving. That doesn't mean actually it's bad, but there's just quite a lot of it in it. The fact that I've got, about 12 sensors, that each of those sensors I've got a whole load of stats from, that I'm trying to actually run it off of battery and solar, and therefore power management is hugely important. How I'm actually going to sleep mode. Yes, there's quite a lot involved, and so there's still quite a bit of work to do on that. But I have recorded the first video on that for going out to the beginning of next month to give you an idea of the scope of the project and what it all looks like and the components involved. There'll be a number of other videos talking through some of the other sensors, some of the details about the software, etc. Some details about the PCB design and how I've done that and how all that's coming up. So I hope they'd be good, and I hope you'll enjoy those. Of course, let me know how I can make them more fun, and we can do something about that. And I've also returned to working on my robot arm. In fact, it's sitting on the desk right next to me, and making sure that that actually is doing what I think it should be doing. Well, actually, robot arm. Why did I go back to the robot arm? Well, actually, I went back onto the robot arm because I wanted to have a look at the Pico 2 and the RP2040 and get MicroROS working on them. So it's been actually, can I get MicroROS on there? What does that look like? And what could be the advantages of running MicroROS on the RP2040 and using that as my embedded workhorse for some of my robots. So a video coming up on that will be out next month as well. So all good new project stuff coming your way really, really soon. And the other thing I'm starting to think about is Christmas. It's not far away, and I really ought to do a Christmas project. So I'm racking my ideas very quickly about what could be my Christmas project. What's the Christmas project that I'm going to be sharing with you guys early in December. So stay tuned. That's in my head right now. Probably a bit later than it should be. I think I should have probably done that by now, but oh well. Oh good, it does still move on this slide. I've forgotten that. Oh well, never mind. Sorry about that. So there we go. So those are the projects that I've been working on, and all mainly my stuff this time. If you've got a great project, or you've seen a great project that you think I should be talking about around the Pi and Pico ecosystems, please do let me know. I'd love to feature your project, and I'd love to feature projects that you'd recommend. So get in touch, let me know what, and we can do something, and we can share that with the world. Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah. So let's talk about the channel, and let me just have a swig of water. So what's my plan on the channel? Where are we going? Well, I always start by talking about what is my broadcast schedule. So as you all probably know, I broadcast on my main vlog on a Thursday. So that's the big content. We'll talk about a major subject, probably around 20 minutes in length, and there'd be generally a big project involved. And then on the following Tuesday, there will generally be a 3-minute summary. Depends how those 3-minute summaries are going. Some of those they're tricky to do, actually, to summarize everything down into sub 3 minutes. I'm not really good at it, and I'm keeping an eye on what the viewer rates are on that, because if people aren't watching those, then I might reduce the amount of work involved. But at the moment, there's that 3-minute summary of what went out the previous Thursday. And then on the Sunday, there is either a live stream, or there used to be a short. Now I'm trying to put something out on a Sunday. And you probably noticed that this month I put out a whole load of stuff, because I sort of had an extra couple of videos around the RP2040, and I wanted to get some stuff out on that. So we were pushing that just a little bit more. And that's helping me a little bit of pushing myself towards becoming a YouTube partner. And to do that, I have to get to a point where I'm on 4,000 hours of content has been watched within a year. And I'm really close. And I'm not doing this by finding a whole load of robots to watch my stuff. I'm doing this by trying to put out good quality content that I think you guys will enjoy. And hopefully you think that too, because otherwise, so you wouldn't be dialing in on your Sunday to watch me now. But yeah, please do watch some stuff. Please go and find some old stuff of mine to watch and just help me get across that line, because I am really so close now. And if I can get to that level, then I'll relax a bit, because I'm there for good. So the other thing I've been doing, is going back to some of these old live streams and re-editing them and just sharpening it up a little bit, taking out my pauses, taking out the chunks at the beginning, putting on a proper ending slide and all of that sort of stuff. I don't know whether the live streams have long-term benefit, but I thought it would be useful to try and edit them where I can, and I'll go back over time doing them, and I'll try and edit this one fairly soon this week. So there we go. So the other thing I'm working on, which we haven't had for a while, is guests. We haven't had, it's all been me. It's been me and my projects, and we haven't had a guest for ages. So I'm going to be working on getting some guests onto the channel, and we'll be doing a bit of fireside chat between me and some other makers and some other security experts and other builders in the space, to just talk around, share what we're up to, where we're going, our ideas, how we come and do things, all of that sort of stuff, which I think will be quite interesting and hopefully useful to share. So look out for those and do stay tuned. So of course the other big thing on the site is the super thanks feature. So just underneath the video there is a big heart with a $sign next to it that you can push, which takes you into the super thanks. And this is really a YouTube way of you giving me a tip for saying, actually, John, that was really good stuff. That was really helpful. I enjoyed it. It helped me out. Here's a couple of dollars. Here's the price of a meal. Here's the price of a holiday. Go and enjoy. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to collect all this. I'm just saving this money to try and get myself to an open source event in San Francisco next year, which is a big conference, which actually focuses quite a lot, I think, on the Pico and Pico 2 ecosystem. So that's my target, and that's what I'm doing. I appreciate all your help, and I appreciate all those who've given me tips via the super thanks button. Thank you very much. And you know, thank you all for your support in watching, giving cash, and just helping me out, and giving ideas. Ideas is as good as anything else, guys. Really, always helpful. Of course, I am continuing to share stuff across other channels. I'm just about on every social channel I can think of. I haven't actually, well, I haven't set up a Telegram channel yet. I'm not sure if I should, nor do I set up a Discord area. But, you know, those are things I could do at some point. But I'm certainly across the others. I fall in love and out of love with these channels over time. I don't know whether I'm very successful on them. I'm more successful, I think, on YouTube. But they are there. I try to use Instagram to put a bit of an insider view of what I'm doing, and use Instagram stories for that, which you might find interesting. I'm not very good at following them, but then I don't actually get that much feedback from you guys on that, so I'm guessing you're not that interested. But anyway, I will try and continue to post some insider view of what's going on Instagram. Right, so please remember that you know, all of this stuff is, or quite a lot of the stuff that I do, becomes courses and content to actually guide you through in a much more detailed and step-by-step process to actually train out some of these skills. And I put those as courses on the Udemy platform. They are commercial, and that's one of the places I get revenue from to actually allow me to do this life and to continue this place. So, you know, if you are interested in those subjects, please do take a look at my courses and think about them. There's, you know, for everything from getting started on the Pico through to, you know, some interesting starter projects, some more detailed view on things like FreeRTOS, a real-time operating system on the Pico, running IoT systems on the Pico, or, you know, web services clients running on the Pico. So there are quite a lot of content out there. Please do to take a look at them and think about buying them. So that takes us all the way to Q&A. So no live questions at this point, and I only have one canned question in the bank. So I got asked about MicroROS over UDP and TCP connections from the W550 EVP Pico board, and that's an RP2040 board from WIZnet. It's basically an RP2040 board with an Ethernet driver on it. I did do some projects on it a while ago. In fact, the cooling system in my server cabinets actually runs on that board. Now, doing MicroROS over UDP and TCP is not trivial. I know I have looked at it a little bit, and not got a huge way through it, I must admit. I am aware that there are some Pico W projects out there that actually use UDP, certainly, on the Pico W. That might be a good place to look how they've done it. But I know it's going to be basically building up adapters and then connecting that in. I think the big thing is really trying to work out what's going on and to evaluate it. You know, it's going to take some work to do. You know, I thought it would be as simple as running the text that's going over the serial stream just over a TCP socket connection. And that does not seem to be how MicroROS wants to run. So there is some quite a bit of stuff that you need to look at that. So sorry, I haven't got an ultimate answer for that. And yeah, that board is one that I've touched for other areas rather than that. So other live questions, none. You're all being really quiet this week, so which is fine. I don't mind. You know, if there are no other questions, if you do think of things we ought to talk about, questions, answers, or debates we should have, then let me know and I can put it in for the next live stream if we don't find something else to do in between. So that's it for today, I'm afraid. So I will do another live stream in October. So let me know what you think should be on that live stream, particularly if you've got any great projects to be on there, or you've got some questions that we should talk about and answers, or anything that should be on the news section. Let me know in advance and I can get that in there, please. And please do like and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. And, you know, basically keep tinkering and keep enjoying the tech, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all very, very soon. Bye-bye for now.